Neville was eating breakfast in the great hall, listening to his colleagues' conversations. They were boring. The day's schedule was discussed, and complaints were made about having to endure 2 hours of potions with Slytherin students. Neville listened to these complaints while quickly eating scrambled eggs and bacon. He wanted to leave the great hall as soon as possible and go where he had been planning since returning from his morning walk. Filch's office. "Why are you in such a hurry?" asked Hermione, who had been observing Neville's foot-file, moving cheeks for some time, which looked like they were about to explode. Neville couldn't answer immediately because his mouth was full of scrambled eggs. He chewed it and drank the tea, which was still very hot. However, after a while he replied, "I have to go to the hospital wing." He decided that the lie he invented in the morning would be the best. "I will ask Madame Pomfrey for some strengthening potion. I have been feeling terrible lately. Maybe it's a cold?" He chuckled nervously. Hermione touched his forehead and looked with concern at Neville's round face. "You don't have a fever, but don't look well. Maybe you should go to Madame Pomfrey before class. She will definitely help you." Hermione got up and left. She finished breakfast earlier than usual that day. Most students were just going to the great hall to eat something. Neville was done too. He stood up, spilling the rest of the tea on Ron's sleeve, and hurried out before he realized it. He headed towards Filch's office. He strolled, thinking about how to ask him what he wanted to ask. He was stressed. Filch didn't like students, and after hearing what Neville tried to tell him, there was a good chance he would get angry and throw him out of his office. After a while, he found himself in front of the door leading to Filch's office. It was an old, dusty and cat-stretched door. He took a deep breath and knocked. Nothing happened. He knocked again. Still nothing. "He's probably gone," Neville thought with hope and fear. He was afraid of meeting Filch, but he had to finally ask him about it. There is no other option. He knocked a third time. Silence. He put his ear to the keyhole and held his breath again. "I don't think there is anyone in the room." He looked around. The corridor was empty. Suddenly, a brilliant thought occurred to him. Maybe he won't have to talk to the janitor at all. Maybe what he wanted to ask him and what he wanted to borrow was somewhere in one of the drawers. Just check. He pressed the doorknob slowly. The door opened. Fortunately, he was already afraid that he would have to use the Alhomora spell, which he had a problem with. He carefully opened the door, fearful it would creak. He was right. Filch didn't oil them. He slowly began to look around him, opening the door more expansive, and then slipped into Filch's office, his eyes still directed towards the corridor. He turned around, closing the door. Suddenly, a scream escaped his throat. Filch was lying face down in the office. There was a pool of blood around him. Neville stood transfixed and stared at the janitor's lifeless body. He didn't know how much time had passed, whether a minute or an hour. He stood there, not even blinking. He hoped Filch would move and get up, but he knew that was impossible. Filch was dead. What to do? Thought Neville, looking around the room. His mind went blank, and he heard a strange screeching noise inside. His heart was pounding. You have to run away, he thought. I shouldn't be here. He walked to the door, still staring at Filch's body. Now he saw that it was all blue. He must have been lying here for some time. He opened the door leading to the corridor and walked out very slowly, not knowing what was happening around him. It was a mistake. He didn't check if the corridor was empty. Unfortunately, Piv was flying over him at the time, and, noticing Neville, he flew over to him to torment another student. When he got close to the boy, he turned around with joy and shouted, "A student broke into the janitor's office! The students broke in..." Piv's voice trailed off. He noticed the janitor's dead body. "What about you? Did you kill? You killed him? Murder! Murder! Let all of Hogwarts know that Neville Longbottom is a murderer! Filch is dead! Neville killed him! Save yourself who can!" Piv rose again and flew down the corridor, screaming horrible. Neville stood frozen. There was no point in running away. Soon the whole school will know that Filch is dead, and that he found his body while breaking into the janitor's office. The minutes passed slowly. However, Neville heard footsteps after a while, and Snape approached him. "Longbottom, Piv is flying around the school shouting that you killed Filch. What are you doing here?" He stopped when he saw the janitors lying there. He approached it slowly, waved his wand, and the body slowly rose in the same position it was lying in. Snape walked up to the dead man and put his fingers to his neck, wanting to check his pulse, although he knew it would be of no use. Filch looked like he had been dead for a long time. Neville saw his mouth twist in a grimace of pain and fear. Snape left Filch's body in the air, walked out of his office, and waved his wand again. A door shot out from its end and ran forward down the corridor. "I sent a Patronus with information to the headmaster. He will be here in a moment. Can you tell me, Longbottom, why are you here? And why is Mr. Filch dead?" Snape asked, entering the office again and continuing to examine the body. He didn't look at Neville. I had a business with Mr. Filch. I wanted to talk with the janitor. A bit suspicious. What could a student want from a janitor? You are going to be in trouble, Longbottom, and big. You better not lie, because it will only make your situation worse. At the moment, Neville heard footsteps in the corridor. He turned and saw the headmaster and Professor McGonagall walking towards him. Hearing them, Snape came out of the office and said, "Headmaster, Filch is dead." Professor McGonagall covered his mouth with her hand and approached Neville. "Come on, Longbottom. Don't look at it any longer. We'll go to the principal's office. When Professor Dumbledore is finished, he will come and talk to you. Come, Longbottom, come." Neville, without thinking, followed the professor.